everyone. Just about texting on the council, it's our understanding that the incumbents in this election cycle, people have been launching open records requests, and that our elected officials have been texting our incumbents while on the dais. As an elected official, what is your opinion, and how can you ensure the citizens of San Marcos that you're not breaking open meeting records rules?
I'll speak to that. I think you get up there and text on the dais when you're bored. That usually happens during the public comment section.
Oh, no.
And yeah, I think we ought to make a rule and more texting and sending them emails and so forth. My opponent's not here today.
She had a family commitment.
Well, okay.
She said a text.
She was going to text.
Anyway, I did think it was important to come out and speak with everyone, and I'd be happy to do it on an individual basis as well. I'll give you my phone number.
Well, certainly when you've got long meetings on the council, I can understand, especially if families communicating with you. But at the same time, there is that open danger of communication behind the scenes, and I think that should be controlled. I work for Seton, and so I'm in hospitals where cell phone traffic is blocked. If you walk into certain facilities, it's blocked. You can't use cell phones. I would be open to having one of those apparatuses right over the glass. It's not a strange thing to me. But that sort of thing, that does start to, it's just like when I've been on boards and commissions and other public bodies, when we go into executive session and we're overusing that sort of thing, it's the same sort of argument that we would get into.
I think it was the CONA silence.
Get some.
And I don't know if we have to necessarily go through the expense of additional equipment to stop that. I mean, it's behavioral. And when I served on the council, there was an initial agreement. It was just an understanding that you weren't going to have any type of communications device at the dais. Eventually, that got to a point where we had a small memo. We had to sign that. I want to check the score of my Spurs game every now and then, but the best thing for me to do is just leave that in the locker and check it during our breaks. We get multiple breaks. If we ever need to break away to use the restroom facilities or to take a phone call, wherever it might be, we can certainly do that. As long as our attention is still focused on the needs of the community, that's the importance of when that meeting is called to order, you're to be in order as well and to be serving the community.
And that is very true.
Yes, ma'am.
Good answer.
We expect young people to do to do that. Not you all. We expect you to be there and be working for us.
Yes, ma'am. When that meeting is called to order, we're in order as well. One thing I would like to share in closing is one of the philosophies I've always held true is that when I sit in that chair, for 4.5 years on the city council, even though there were only several thousand people that voted, I had to maintain the understanding that my purpose there was to serve the 50,000 plus that are part of that community. And that's the philosophy that I've held true. Whether it's service on city council, whether it's a service on the appraisal review board, the appraisal district, and also at the education foundation. We're there to serve the entire community.
Y'all can write this down at whatever time of day this is right now. My cell phone will not be in my possession when I'm sitting on the city council. There's no, what have we become? I was at church this morning, and the priest had to tell people to turn your cell phones on. What's going on here? Leave it in the car. I'm telling you today, if you guys elect me to city council, my cell phone will not be on my body when we walk into that meeting.
All right.
What I do on the P&Z is before the meeting starts, I just go ahead and turn it off, my cell phone, because it also interferes with the mic sometimes. But usually I just turn off my cell phone, and I don't turn it on towards the end of the meeting to text my wife to tell her to get the dinner ready because I'm going home.
Well, we do have a policy at the city council to not text other council members from the dais. I've never done that. We also have a policy not to disrupt your council colleagues. And that's a policy that's been in place for 3 or 4 years now. I do keep my cell phone on me. And I keep it on because I run a business. I have family members, and sometimes my meetings last 6 or 7 hours long. And it's difficult to be away from everything and everybody for that period of time. Most times my colleagues will say, gee, Tomitis, if you would have just shut up and quit talking so much on every issue, we could have got out of here earlier. So I had somebody actually try to insinuate that I wasn't engaged as a council member. I would argue that I'm one of the most engaged. So I do my homework. Before the meeting, I spend several hours, sometimes 3 to 4 hours, reading the agenda, reading the presentations. Sometimes some of our presenters get a little long-winded with their PowerPoints and issues that I've already maybe visited with the staff about. So, as Daniel said, we may check the sports working on there, but it doesn't mean that we're not engaged, not paying attention, not doing the business of the city. But if that's the policy that the entire council wants to take, then I can support that. The entire council took a different policy that I lived with now.
Just as a professional courtesy and responsibility, you serve the community, you should have a phone on, not take it away. The other side of that coin is, though, I have a daughter who's 14, and that's all she knows how to do. So basically what I have instructed her is I'm in a meeting or doing something, and I know everything's okay. But it is a nice avenue to know if there's an emergency, family thing happened, that you have to wait 20, 30 minutes, someone's on the way to the hospital. You know, as a parent, that kind of scares you. So I'm going to have to stand up. I like the idea of the texting to get a hold of somebody, but as a professional, I would never do it on the nights.
You are locked in live to San Marcos News Live, so lock it in, San Marcos, Texas.